right.
We're
Hi,
back,
everybody. We're back. We are at the Annapolis Book Festival.
In case you don't remember.
At the Key School. We are here with some awesome authors today. Right now, we are with Susan Coll.
Author of Bookish People.
Yes. Coll. C-O-L.
C-O-L-L. Coll.
C-O-L-L, but it's Coll, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Coll.
I said it right.
You did.
I should have asked that before we went on. That would have been probably more professional. But anyway, so we're here with Susan Coll today. Bookish People is her newest book that's out now. That's actually the one that Molly and I read to talk to her about today. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
A little bit of information about Susan Coll. Susan, can we call you Susan?
Yes,
just
please.
call you Susan.
Please.
I could keep calling you Susan Coll,
Well, I mean,
but it would just be awkward.
No.
So Bookish People is your most recent book, but you're the author of 6 novels, is that correct?
Yes.
6 novels, which is awesome.
Girl.
Her
You're
work
busy.
has appeared
Yes.
in the Washington Post, the New York Times, NPR.org, TheAtlantic.com, The Millions. I mean, just a lot of publications. President of the Faulkner Foundation, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing.
And recipient of the 2022 and 2023 grants from the DC Commission of the Arts and Humanities, which is awesome.
Yeah.
She's also teaching an intensive year-long novel workshop at the Writers Center, which is so cool. So again, thank you.
Are you writing on top of all of this?
I'm writing, and I'm also working at Politics Prose.
Oh my goodness.
Doing a few too many things.
Wow.
So she doesn't sleep is what she's saying.
I love to sleep.
When she has the time, she loves to sleep.
Yeah.
So,
that's
okay, that's so
wild.
cool.
You're
Thank
so
you
busy.
again.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're
Yeah.
so busy.
Yeah.
Wow. How do you manage all that? Like, how do you?
I'm just a little too busy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What I need is more time to read. I kind
yes.
of feel like I'm.
Girl, same.
Yeah.
We always
Yeah.
want more time to read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do a book a week every week, and so I'm always reading 2 books at once.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm a librarian, so sometimes
Mhm.
I'm reading for work,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, wow, this is a lot.
Yeah.
So that's when I take what I call smut breaks, and I just read smutty romance novels. So I'm like, I need a
That's great.
break
That's
from
great.
anything that's hard to read.
Yes, we all need that.
Smut breaks are good. So this is your 6th book, but this one's also set in a backdrop of a tragedy near your home.
Yeah.
And I live in Virginia too, so I wanted to know how was writing this book different for you than the other ones?
Well, in some ways it was similar in that I tend to write, I'm very settings driven, so I can't help but absorb where I am at the time. And, with this book, I had worked at Politics and Prose for about 5 years, and I promised the owners I was not going to write a novel about a bookstore.
And then you did it.
And then I did, because I really had no intention of
Right.
doing it, but then
It just kind of happened.
it just kind of happened. I can tell you the moment it happened, if that's of interest. But
Yeah,
later,
sure.
Or,
It is.
Well, I had left. I took a leave of absence, but they had kept me for a while on the daily email list that went out to the managers, and I would read it with just for fun, and I kept telling them to take me off the list.
Yeah.
But I stayed on it for a while, and I noticed that they send out something called the end of day report at the end of each day that just summarizes everything that happened in the bookstore.
And you have those in this book?
Yes.
They're hilarious.
That was the original title of the book, but that got nixed.
Oh.
I understand why, but
Yeah.
it was the end of day report. And it just summarizes, how many, what the big book is. Like 20 customers asked for this book because it was on NPR, and a dog came in and was sick in the travel section, that kind of thing. But I started to notice that it so frequently mentioned that the vacuum cleaner was broken. And when I worked there, the vacuum cleaner was frequently broken.
Nice.
And the little messages were kind of amusing. It'd be like, well, it is working, you just have to kick it a few times. So
Nice.
then I thought, this is a message that
Yeah.
I do need to write this novel.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you if you could give us a summary of
Yes.
the book. So now
Yeah.
we're talking about
Yes.
it, and people don't know what we're talking
Yes,
about. So
exactly.
can you give us a summary
Summary
of
of-
Bookish People? I'm
so
sorry.
It is a dark comedy set during one week in August 2017 in an independent bookstore with no name in the novel. And it's set the week of the events in Charlottesville. So that is sort of in the backdrop of everything going on. It's not about that,
Yeah.
but you know,
It influences.
But it definitely
influences
influences all the
it.
characters.
Yeah,
emotions,
and
yeah.
I, you know what, well, that's why I say, right, comedy, all my books are comic, but they always have some kind of thread
Layer.
of social realism or, you know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Brings it into the real world for the reader.
Exactly, yeah.
So, for those of you that don't know, there was a peaceful protest in Virginia, in Charlottesville, and that was disrupted with violence.
Yeah.
And I actually lived that was our first year in Virginia, and being a librarian, you know, we tend to be advocating for, you know, people just to have their normal whatever feelings they have, because libraries are for everybody.
Right.
So it was a time for us as librarians that were like, okay, so now how do we make people feel like it's safe to be here,
Yeah.
and to be who they want to be? And we're still fighting that fight, because there's a lot of that happening right now.
Yeah.
So I immediately connected with the characters in your book, because I was like, okay, I wasn't part of it. And most of the characters in your book were not present. There's one character that was present.
Right.
But they're all affected, because it's something that would affect anyone that's in the, you know, in that area. So
Yeah.
I definitely felt that connection.
Yeah, I mean, in the same way that politics can't help but seep into libraries, they seep into bookstores.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I, you know, have a thread of that with the book has the 3 points of view. One is the bookstore owner, one is a young bookseller, and one is this poet who his tour has been canceled, and he's effectively been canceled. But
He
this
may
is
or may not
before
be a murderer.
right. But this is before there was a cancel culture.
Right,
so
right,
it's
yeah.
kind of interesting to see how all this sort of was bubbling up in 2017.
Right.
Before
So did you have a favorite character in that book to write?
I did. My favorite character was this poet, the canceled poet, and he almost got cut from the book because I had a lot more of him in there.
I could see how you could do that, like, with the writing style and how either way it could have gone for you.
Yeah, I had a lot
But
more of
he
him.
adds.
I think he's a great unreliable narrator.
Yes.
You never
We
really
love
know.
an unreliable narrator
You're
here at
like,
Book
is he
Besties.
a murderer though? Did he kill her, or was it the stove? What was the stove called?
An aga.
I've never heard of an
It's
aga
a real
before.
thing. I lived in England for 3 years, and
okay.
everyone had agas. But really, the first time I saw it was in a novel. I can't remember the author, but a very British women's fiction. And there was an aga, and the aga was like a character almost, and I didn't know what an aga was. So I finally asked my British friend, and she thought that was just hilarious. And it is a very common oven. In fact, I was visiting a friend last week in Virginia, and they had an aga in the kitchen, so it was amazing. I forgot to take a picture.
What I love is that he doesn't want people to think it was an aga. Like, I'm not one of those people.
Right,
it's
got a connotation.
I feel like that's probably not the main story. Like, you might have murdered somebody. Possibly that's what's important here.
Right. Well, driven her to suicide.
Yes, right. Yes, driven her to suicide.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say? Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I
6
blanked.
books is a lot. Wow. So how did you get into writing? Like, how did you first get into publishing?
Yeah, I just so wanted to write fiction. I can't tell you why. I love to read.
I'm constantly creating. I just haven't been published.
I love to read and write and worked on the college newspaper. But it was very hard to get published.
Yes,
I still
it is
can't
very
quite
difficult.
believe that I've published 6.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So are you how do you fall in line with the rest of us? Are you a pantser? Are you a plotter? Do you run?
Yeah, I'm not a plotter at all. I wish I could. I'd save myself a lot of time. But the book I just finished was very different from everything else.
You had us at your book.
New book.
It'll be out next May, hopefully.
Yay.
But it's very different in that it's the first book I've written that is not kind of from within. It wasn't. It was a story I'd been hearing about for years that I was interested in. It has nothing to do with me, and that kind of forced me to write differently and to do not plotting, because I'm not capable of plotting, but to think more about technique and craft.
I've noted, you'll see with authors, and if you have like a favorite author that you've read for years, like I'm a big fan of Deborah Harkness and Karen Slaughter, and both of them, you can see when they've hit their stride in both their books. Dr. Harkness, it's like her second book. You can see she just folded and melted into it, and she found her path. And Karen Slaughter, you can see that with like her Clark County series. Like the second or third book, you can see she just kind of rolls into it, and you can tell when authors find the rhythm and it starts smoothing slowly. Sometimes it's their first book, sometimes it's like their last book. Yeah, it just depends.
I really liked the like low-key shade that's in the book of, I don't get why everybody wants to be an author.
Yeah.
So was that something that happened at the bookstore where you worked? Like, was this the question, like, why does everybody want to be a writer? Like,
yeah, and it's a bigger thread in the forthcoming book as
Oh.
well, because the protagonist is a frustrated novelist and a writing teacher. So,
Who is it?
right. So she has all of these stories from her writing students stuck in her head. But yes, I think some of that's just my life between teaching writing and then working at a bookstore and being a writer. Everyone I'm married to a writer. So everybody in my life.
So your life is writing. So that's all you talk about.
Yeah, it is. It's a little too much sometimes. So.
Okay, so what are you reading right now then? Let's not talk about writing. Let's talk about reading.
Oh boy, what am I reading? Well, I just finished, the last book I read is someone who will be at the festival today. She's presenting, but Michelle Brofman. She has a book coming out in June called Swimming with Ghosts.
Okay.
And it's set in... I think it's set in Northern Virginia.
That is a Molly book, just
sounds
by the title.
It sounds like
it's about
Molly,
a swim club, like a suburban swim club, but the characters, kind of adults behaving badly, and kids swim team, and it's very good. It's very good.
That sounds good. Maybe need to add that to our list.
Yeah.
Swimming with Ghosts. Yeah. But I'm mostly reading manuscripts. I'm reading a manuscript for a friend right now, and then I have my class. So that's when I say I don't read enough. I read a lot, but I'm reading for work.
You need a smut break.
Smut break.
I will DM you some smut suggestions.
I like Emily Henry, so.
Oh yes,
we
love Emily Henry.
Yes.
Nikki Payne, who's here, we just finished with her.
Pride and
book,
Protest.
Pride and Protest is really good.
So good.
It's good smut too.
Good smut.
Yeah. So one of your books, Acceptance, and was that was the third book you wrote?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It was made into a movie. Joan Cusack stars in it. I love her. I love her. So what was that process like? You have a writer's credit on IMDb.
No big deal.
So I was like,
no big deal.
What it was like.
Well, I was not a writer on there. I was a consultant. So if I have that credit, I'm not aware, and thank you.
You do. She does. I looked.
We fact checked.
I was a consultant, and I think that was a good thing. I was advised that sometimes authors can get too close to the material, and it complicates the process, and that was fine with me because I have no experience screenwriting, and I think it is a very different skill, and I like mostly what the screenwriter did, and I think she was able to have enough distance from the book that she could sort of play with it in a way that wouldn't have occurred to me. So she pulled out one of the characters who had not been a main character. She'd just been one of, I think I probably had 3 points of view there as well, and made her the main character, and her voice kind of narrated the whole movie. I think she made it funnier than I would have been able to do with that. With that format.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen the movie, but I did watch the trailer, and it seemed like, what's the girl from Parenthood who was also in
Mae Whitman.
Mae Whitman.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Mae Whitman's
Mae.
like kind of the star.
Yeah.
Like I feel like what they did from what it looks like is they made it more geared towards a younger crowd than like being more of an adult
Gen
contemporary.
X.
Yeah. But we love Mae Whitman.
We love
Yeah,
Mae.
she was
She's awesome.
very good.
Yeah.
At the same time she was doing that, she was filming In Treatment, if you remember that, and she was, I believe this was a while ago, but she was the therapist's rebellious daughter, so she had she had a streak in her hair, and I think that was from filming Acceptance. So I was kind of proud of seeing that.
Nice. Yeah, she was, Lauren Graham bought bought the rights to a book we really love, which is called The Royal We, and it was supposed to be made into a movie, and Mae Whitman was supposed to be the star, and the rights have lapsed because the pandemic changed all that, and but we were pretty disappointed because we were like, Lauren Graham and Mae Whitman, this is gonna be amazing. So
and then I noticed the dad, I won't remember his name, but he popped up in Mad Men, so
Oh,
I was
cool.
very excited. I feel like these are my people now.
Yeah, I mean,
They
they
were
are
in my
your
movie.
people. I mean, you made them into the world.
Yeah.
You got to talk about your characters like real people and
Yeah.
turned them into
Yeah.
real people.
Yeah.
Not a lot of us get to do that as authors.
Yeah. So
It
did you
is
get to be on
freaking
set?
awesome.
I never went
Oh,
on set,
okay.
so I did not really have very much to do with it. They sent me the final script,
Yeah.
and I suggested some changes, some of which they listened to, and some
In other
of
words,
which they
they were like,
didn't.
"Nah."
So I didn't go down. They filmed in Louisiana, and I wish I'd gone down, but I had 3 kids, and
Yeah.
that's
they
tough.
also were not encouraging me to come
Yeah.
down. I think there was some drama on the set, and I think
Aw,
they
well,
just
that's a
didn't
bummer.
want another person
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
They need more help. Like they need a
Right.
hole in the head.
Right.
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 So what else can you tell us about your new book? It comes out in March.
May,
May.
hopefully.
So-
Hopefully.
sorry.
I mean, if it's any good. I just turned it in. I haven't
Okay.
heard from my editor
So
yet.
working title or is it title?
It has a title. It's called Real Life and Other Fictions. And it actually
I like that.
begins.
I do
It's
too.
got a slightly local setting now that I think about it. It begins on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. That's
Yep.
where it opens.
Yep.
And it has to do with a woman whose family died in a bridge collapse in West Virginia in the 1960s, and that's a real bridge collapse, and the
Wow.
Silver Bridge collapse, and that spawned the myth of the Mothman.
Yes.
Yeah. Or I don't know if that.
Tom's
Tom's,
Yeah.
over,
I
Tom's
know what
over
you're
there
talking about.
nodding.
Yes.
Tom's in.
Yeah.
You got Tom in. So either way, you're
That's
coming.
great. Yeah, and I may have not used the right language there. I could have things thrown at me by people because the myth, it's not clear that it's a myth. I mean, there may really be a Mothman,
Right.
but the story
Right.
of the Mothman became
The
known.
legend, the
Yeah,
urban legend.
Yes.
I love stories
Yeah.
based on urban legend.
Yeah.
Because you never.
Tom's still hunting for Sasquatch, so it's fine.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
like,
I talk
they-
about cryptids, and I have
Yeah.
a cryptozoologist.
Like there
in the
was
book,
literally a show that you watched for years about finding Bigfoot, and they never found him, babe.
Yeah.
They never found him.
But it's
Tom's
fascinating.
over there smiling. He goes, "We got time. We got time."
It's fascinating stuff, and I don't solve any
No.
mysteries, but I'm really interested.
It
yeah,
is
it's
very
really
interesting.
All
That's
that,
very
so,
interesting.
yeah.
That's definitely a.
The community college in Lake City, they had a cryptology class
Yeah,
that they
they did.
offered, which I thought was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, keep going
Yeah.
about your book, new book.
Yeah, no, it was a different process though, as I was saying before, because I do not have any connection to that material. So it usually when I write, I've already got the story in my head. Of
An
course, with
outline
this
of some
book.
sort, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of with this book. I was writing about the vacuum. That the vacuum cleaner was the inspiration, and in this, I had to really think more about story structure, novel structure, character development, and that was probably good for me to take a step back.
I think
People
it's
get
good.
really aggressive with that vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Violent with the
Yeah.
vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, vacuum cleaners are underrated as comic
Yes.
devices. So
I thought it was good. This copy of the book that I have has a reader's guide in the back, and one of the questions is like, is there an inanimate object that you feel like would be a good character? And to me, I was like, yeah, vacuum cleaner seems right.
Yeah.
I think oven as well, because my husband does most of our cooking now. He's a stay-at-home dad. He's retired Coast Guard, and he does most of our cooking. But our oven is frequently a thing that I'm like, you're just driving me insane.
yeah.
Microwave, that's the other one too, I would say.
Yeah.
Microwaves drive me insane.
Yeah.
But now our 6-year-old can use it, so it's a little bit better. I'm like,
Yeah.
go make your own pizza, son.
We have a robot vacuum that has a mind of its own.
Yeah. The robot vacuum comes in this book toward
Yeah.
It has a mind of its own. You'll hear it just like out of nowhere in the middle of the night, and you're like, "Ma'am, you're unplugged."
Yeah.
It's bedtime.
Yeah.
Bedtime robot.
Well, I'm just imagining. I this hadn't occurred to me before, but with AI,
Oh,
yeah.
pretty soon
Yeah.
the appliances are just gonna
They will.
take care of
Yeah,
us.
we bought a new dishwasher in washing machine. That was our anniversary present to each. We're grown-ups now, right? So we're running on 13 years. So last year we bought new appliances, and I was like, we could get a new fridge too. And I was like, why do we need fridges that like text us? Like, I don't know. I don't think I need to communicate with my fridge. We commune enough as it is.
Right. Clean me now.
Yes.
So is there anyone you're excited to see here today as a reader
Yeah.
at the festival?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and catch Anthony Mara, and
Yep.
Yeah.
We're interviewing him later today.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in conversation with my friend Angie Kim, who moderated my first book event for Bookish
Very
People.
cool.
So
I love
I'll
that.
catch them, and then I'll see. who
Mara,
else. There's a lot
Mara's
of
book
good-
is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
No,
read
we-
his new one.
We
but-
met him last night as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're at the author event. You were there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah,
That's a good
but a lot of the other authors, well, he was also at Politics and Prose, but I've seen like a lot of these authors coming through
Yeah.
the bookstore
Yeah.
recently.
Well,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
Now,
A lot of people are local, so
Yes,
that helps.
exactly.
Is
yeah.
this your first time at the Annapolis Book Festival?
No, I was recalling as I drove out here, I was here for my second novel, Rockville Pike, so that would
Okay.
have been a pretty long time ago, but it
And
was
what time is your panel today?
2:00.
2
o'clock.
o'clock.
Yeah.
And if you want to see Susan Coll at her panel, 2 o'clock today. Anything else you want to tell us before we end for our session?
No,
That sounded like therapy.
Yeah.
This was-
Oh, yeah.
this was
What are
very-
you doing?
Not
Yeah.
due to me therapy.
Do you have anything you want to talk about from this past week before we end our session?
Probably, but yeah.
We'll
when
do
you
that
turn
offline.
off the camera.
Yeah. Well, I have a listener's face, so.
Well, thank you again
thank
Yes.
you.
so
Thank you
much
for
for
joining
coming,
us.
giving your
This is
time.
great.
Yes.
Bookish People, this is the newest book. It is out now. And Susan Coll. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank
Thank
you
you,
everybody.
Susan.
Thanks so much.
We'll see you
Thank
soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.